Hi, my name is Diana, and recently I decided to bake a pie. And not just any pie. I found a recipe online from chef at fancy restaurant. And I thought, if I'm doing this, I will do this properly. I bought everything on the list, even fresh plums in February. And I kneaded the dough, waited exactly 40 minutes, not like plus or minus or 39, exactly 40 minutes. Then I pulled the pie out, sat my friends down, cut it, and then I saw my friend's face. You know, the face when somebody's still in the room with you, but already regrets ever meeting you. That was my friend's face. Because it turns out that the recipe said to add cilantro to sweet pie, to add cilantro. Apparently the chef wanted to play with contrast, or maybe he just hates people, I don't know. Either way, the pie was terrible, and the worst thing that I had followed every single instruction. And that's exactly how we live. We're obsessed with recipes. How to build a career, when to start a relationship, how to be happy, preferably without taking any risks. And in 1784, the philosopher Immanuel Kant said, have the courage to use your own reason. Attention, not be smart, but be courageous. Because the knowledge has never been a problem. The problem is fear. Fear rarely says, I'm scared. It usually says, I'm ready, let's find more reliable recipe. But in life, as in pies, there is no universal instruction, only choice and the courage to take responsibility for it. And Kant put it simply, being adult means thinking for yourself. Sounds beautiful, but why are we smart people still read horoscopes? Not because we are stupid, I believe in us, because we desperately want to know what tomorrow will bring us. We want to peek into the future and get guarantee that everything will be right, or even better, that everything will be terrible, but at least I am ready. But that's a trap. How many times have you heard that history repeats itself? It's all been before, it's all clear. People who usually say that, they are sure they know everything in advance. It gives them a sense of certainty. They do not have to try, they know how it will end, so better stick to the instruction. But there is another philosopher. I'm sorry, I'm a philosophy student, and I have to apply my knowledge somewhere. And his name, Karl Popper. And he called that historicism. The habit of thinking that the past dictates the future. But there is a small exception. History has always room for chance, for that very human factor that breaks any statistics. Because technologies we have today didn't exist yesterday, and events happening now never happened before. And that's why there is a vivid illustration of it. 2008, the global financial crisis. I was 6 years old, but even I could remember cries of despair from the kitchen, because it turns out that you can pile up a mountain of money, knowledge, recipes, and still crash, because the bigger bang of money, knowledge, recipes doesn't save you from unpredictable world. And it even doesn't give the courage when the familiar world falls apart. Well, where does the courage come from? Upbringing, character, luck? I thought about it, and I remember my friend, she opened bakery. Why? Because others had succeeded, like coziness, croissants, ready-made recipe. And she put in effort, money, knowledge, but 6 months later she closed because the market was saturated and another cozy bakery nobody needed. I kept turning this story over and over, like what could go wrong? She did everything right. And then I came across a study that won Nobel Prize in Economics in 2025. Preschoolers described mechanism that works everywhere, in person's life, in economics, in business, everywhere. They said, you can accumulate knowledge, copy others' success, but if you do not add your own, and that means risk and responsibility, you are just taking up space. And then I understood what went wrong with my friend. She never asked herself, what can I invent that nobody has yet? And here's why the choice comes so easily. Because when you do what everyone does, the responsibility is spread across the crowd. If you fail, well, everyone fails. I'm not alone. But if you do your own things and you fail, there is no one to blame, only yourself, and that paralyzes. And in that exactly moment, fearlessness begins, not in not being afraid, but taking a step every time when you are paralyzed. Because Nobel laureates demonstrated that real growth involves distraction. The word distraction scares us. But if you think about it, it's just a description of what happens every time when you choose your own path instead of someone else's. Because you destroy the old recipe, you destroy the idea of proper life, and you destroy the image of who you are supposed to be. And I have my own experience. When I got my first job, I spent 2 weeks lying on my bed because I thought, how could they hire me? I have no experience. They must have made a mistake. I was paralyzed. I thought that I need to learn so much more, to know so much more, just to have the right to do my job. And you know what happened? Within a year, I created a literature podcast. Although I'm not a literature scholar, I just love books and see it as a cool conversational partners. And that literature podcast resonated with hundreds of people, and I even got messages from other cities asking how to do the same. They were looking for recipe. And in that moment, I realized that I was the only one who made a mistake, because all along I was, and that was enough, not a perfect baggage of knowledge, not a ready-made recipe, just me, my love for books, and my desire to talk to the world. And that's why no one can take you away from you unless you paralyze yourself. Because as I said before, fearlessness isn't about not being afraid. It's about being afraid, being paralyzed, but continue to take a step every time. Because you destroy the old recipe. And not for some grand purpose. Just do not wake up in someone else's life. Because what makes your neighbor happy might kill you. What helps your friend won't work for you. There are no two identical lives. And here's the most beautiful and scariest part. In front of you is a blank page. No rules, no guarantees. But right now you stop being a passenger and you pick up a pen, an ordinary one. But it weighs tons because now you are the only one who is responsible. What's at stake is your life, not by templates, by yours. Thank you.